Today we'll be going over the Mythic banner for October 31st, 2023. Happy early Halloween, or maybe it is already Halloween for you. We'll talk about our new Mythic hero today, plus briefly be going over the 11 other units on this banner. I did a little bit of remodeling for my face lines, so let me know your thoughts on the new layout. Our new Mythic hero will be the first from Fire Emblem Engage. Mayhaps a slight spoiler, but we got Mythic Veyle making her Fae debut. Would not surprise me if we got a non-Mythic Veyle next year on a certain banner. For now though, Mythic Veyle is a blue infantry mage, another quote-unquote dragon. Veyle does bring some dragon perks with her. She is an astro mythic that boosts defense, and she'll offer more tanking support with her kit. For old skills, we have Iceberg and Attack and Res finish 4. Veyle does do res checking, and she can charge her specials in a couple actions. For unique weapon, Obscurity is a 14 might tome. If Veyle starts to turn within 2 spaces of an ally, she grants +6 attack against field buffs, resonance blades, and shields to herself and those allies. For her own combat, Veyle accelerates specials. If she initiates combat or is near an ally, she grants +5 total stance, makes a free follow-up attack, deals true damage on hit based on 20% res, and then you get low attack and res to disable the Veyle's field buffs. First off, Veyle offers solid stat support for her team. Resonance Blades is +4 attack and speed in combat. Resonance Shields is +4 defense and res in combat. Stack that with +6 attack and res field buffs and the follow-up denial from shields. Nice assortment of buffs, and another candidate to help activate Prime 4 on all your favorite units. As for combat, Veyle has very standard perks. Free follow-up suggests she's not super fast, but Obscurity does give +9 extra speed to work with. With res-based true damage, Veyle will have great base res, and then you get to deny attack and res field buffs, which is always good. It's a solid weapon. For her Fel Protection C skill, Veyle gets extra perks when initiating or fighting near an ally within 2 spaces. She gains an extra +5 attack and res, and then does a res check with the foe. If Veyle has 5 or more resistance, she gets 30% damage reduction, and if the foe uses an offensive special, she inflicts +1 to their cooldown count before their first attack. In Dragon language, Veyle has a Dragon Wall plus Scowl type effect. Technically, not really Dragon Wall, but you still need higher res than the foe to get %DR. Along with her weapon, Veyle is stacking quite a bit of defensive power, and then you got Scowl, which mainly counters pre-charging specials. All those Times Pulse, Quicken Pulse type abusers will have their special uncharged, which means Veyle probably just takes a regular basic attack. For the second part of the skill, Veyle has a drive type buff for her team. Allies get +4 attack and res, and then Veyle's res is higher than the allies' foe's res at start of combat. Then Veyle's teammates now also get 30% DR and Scowl. Veyle is here to share the powerful Scowl effect with the team, and she's another %DR support too. However, Veyle has to do a res check again, and the conditions are different this time. You still need 5 more res, but now it's an at start of combat res check, meaning we calculate with flat res stats. Veyle has her +6 res field buff, but she's not running Stillwater. You may want to consider swapping Finish 4 out if you want the pure support benefits. Something to note, Scowl effects do stack. Double Scowl dragons might be pretty annoying in specific matchups now. As usual, feud effects will disable Fel Protection. For her new inheritable B skill, Veyle is bringing attack and res tempo 4. Inflict -4 attack and res on the foe in combat. Grant the user no guard and no special charge. Then new to the skill is reduce the percentage of the foe's non-special %DR skills by half. Tempo 4 does the same thing as before, now with the partial DR piercing effect. Similar to No Follow-Up 4's upgrade, infantry get another tool for piercing damage reduction, and if you don't need No Follow-Up, then you can mess with the Veyle specials or get your own No Guard effect. Veyle can proc Iceberg with her follow-up attack if she takes a counterattack. Meanwhile, with Scowl from Fel Protection, if you were to give Veyle guard somehow, then using it with no special charge, you can just stop the foe from charging any specials in combat. The only way for them to counter this is with their own no guard effects. Overall, I do think tempo is quite strong, but it's a bit tough for most units to fit in a build since there's so many good B skills out there. It's also pretty rare in general. It may not be Special Sparrow 4, but this is another special focus skill that can pierce DR. It just happens to affect the enemy specials as well. To summon Mythic Veyle, we have a probably high attack and res blue mage that provides some nice support. She needs to do a res check, but 30% DR and Scowl for allies is pretty cool. Veyle can also provide lots of stats with both resonance buffs and +6 attack and res. In Aether Raids, the flat res check may be a concern. For combat, she gains all these benefits herself. She has a follow-up, low attack and res, and accelerated specials with Tempo 4, which now has a partial DR piercing effect. If you let Veyle double, she most likely procs Iceberg, and she has a decent amount of defensive power, at least for a mage, some DR, some anti-special effects. All in all, another hybrid combat support mage. They've kind of been all the rage this year. Scowl support is definitely the main eye-catcher for Veyle. For example, this can stop guys like Mr. Wind Tribe Claw's instant lethality. However, Brave Robin's Rally Spectrum can cancel out Scowl, so it's not an infallible strategy. This is where double Scowl dragons can be a pain, which Veyle can enable for those without Scowl in their weapons. One Scowl effect itself is still really good though for any tank. Imagine far save armors with Armored Beacon or Flow, and they have Scowl on top. If you hate specials, Veyle is another tool against all the spam. Moving on, we have 11 other units on the banner. In red, there's legendary Nana, Diamant, and Felix. Blue has Mythic Veyle, Freyr, and legendary Shez. Green has legendary Atri, Xander, plus Citrine. Colorless has Arvel, Ash, and Rearmed Alcrest. The second Engage banner units are back to greet Veyle. I have redone my table of skills with a new color scheme to designate skill rarity. Gold will highlight inheritable skills only on that one unit at the moment. Silver will be generally good, strong skills worth inheriting. Bronze will basically be anything free to play accessible or just super common. As for red, those are exclusive to the unit themselves. Now, our first red unit is legendary Nana. She's a sword cav focused on offense with her lance sword being one of the few weapons to straight up prevent defensive specials from activating, and every attack Nana makes will pierce all % skills. She also has offense and a follow-up and some healing. Her B skill has near trace Kanto, any HP desperation, and true damage per hit equal to 20% attack. For fodder, you can get attack and speed push 4 if you want recoil damage, and attack and speed menace is generally good for stat swings. Next up is Diamant. I believe this is the first rerun for all the Brodians on this banner. Diamant's a fairly unique sword infantry, high attack and defense, and some speed. However, his Fair Fight Blade alters the speed rolls of the game. You need 25 or more speed to naturally double Diamant, and he neutralizes all follow-up skills in the fight, including his own. He also gets rid of all % DR skills in the fight. To make up for this loss, Diamant gets 25% defense as flat DR and true damage per hit. He then heals 10 HP after battle. Still going, Diamant can then charge and proc his bonfire in one attack in battle. Times Pulse 4 will be needed for this playstyle. He has attack and speed bulwark to obstruct foes and is the only unit with attack and defense finish 4, which is a pretty good skill. Last up, we have Felix, who is a more traditional sword master. Lone Wolf essentially lets Felix pre-charge and recharge godlike reflexes while also giving him 30% DR built in. He has accelerated specials, and when solo, you will inflict extra stat debuffs. Like Diamant, Felix has bulwark to heal and obstruct. Attack and speed finish 4 will always be active for extra damage plus healing on hits. And then for multiple fights, speed smoke 4 grants dodge and that speed advantages. Overall, red is quite fun, lots of strong skills, and 2 units who ignore DR skills. Next is the blue group, which has our new Mythic Veyle. For skill fodder, if you want the first tier 4 tempo skill, then Veyle is our only option for now. Tempo is pretty rare already, but attack and res tempo is at least the most common variant. It will be tough to grab both, but attack and res finish 4 is solid as usual for units who can charge the specials up quickly. Halloween Cedo is still around with the tier 3. Making his first return will be Mythic Freyr. He's going to be opposite of Veyle as an animal mythic, and he is super tanky as a Blue Beast Cavalier. Dream Deliver is pretty potent. Freyr prevents any penalties from landing on his allies within 2 spaces at the start of either turn. To debuff him, you need to inflict penalties during a phase, such as from units like our Fairy Dancers. In addition, Freyr buffs his team with plus 6 defensive res and resonant shields. He can get an extra defensive res and guard for himself. From Dreamhorn, Freyr has Slang, a free follow-up attack, 30% TR on all hits, and just inflicts a ton more attack and defense debuffs. He is the only unit with low attack and defense 4 for even more stat debuffing, and attack and defense clash is an excellent Cavalier skill. Last up is legendary Shez, who's a blue dagger infantry. She is not a sword unit. Her Asura Blades is a dual phase brave dagger with plus 5 speed and ignores all stat debuffs. If Shez outspeeds, she gets breath type cooldown. Her Swift Slice A skill grants plus 8 to all stats, and when initiating, if Shez has 5 or more speed, she gains effective against all weapon type damage. However, if she is up against human infantry units, the speed check goes to a whopping 20 or more speed. Seal Speed 4 can try to help get that, and Attack Speed Oath 4 will grant stats with warping. Overall, if you want the new Veyle, not a bad time to try and summon. A lot of good skills, and Freyr and Shez are both fairly unique. Shez is just full on offense, but Freyr and Veyle offer unique defensive support. They will also face off against each other in Aether raids. Moving on to the green group, we have legendary Xander, who's a speedy offensive Axe Cavalier. His Axe grants the no follow-up and bread type cooldown statuses if he starts the turn near an ally. He gets accessory specials, plus 5 stats, and 7 HP healing after combat. From Chivalry, Xander can get near Trace Kanto, inflict some debuffs, and he can get up to 50% DR against full health foes. This damage reduction will scale with the foe's current percent health. For fodder, Xander has Attack and Speed Catch 4 and Colorless Feud, nothing wrong with either of those. Our next unit is legendary Atri, a bulkier flying green mage. Grim Broker grants Kanto 2 for 4 turns, inflicts attack and res debuffs, and gives a free follow-up attack. Divine Recreation inflicts -4 debuffs, gives 30% DR for 1 hit, and Atri empowers her next counterattack with the damage reduced. You can stack this with the newer remote A skills. For her own fodder, Atri has the modest attack and res solo 4 and attack and res rain 3. Last up is Citrine, a green infantry mage with high attack and resistance. Like Rearm Sonya, Citrine will spam specials. Her tome has accelerated specials with -2 cooldown on turn 1. Citrine also gives herself a player phase follow-up status, and she can share all bonuses on her to allies within 2 spaces. This excludes +1 movement and Pathfinder though. For extra damage, she can get +5 stats and true damage based on 50% res. To ensure her burst hits true, Citrine has Special Spiral 4 for DR piercing and Attack and Res Oath 4 for the extra buffs and warping. Reminder, Tome of Luxuries will pass on the Oath buffs to nearby teammates as well. If you want to pass around statuses, give them to Citrine for some fun setups. Her fodder is also extremely solid value for just a ton of builds. Last up for the colors group, starting with Mythic Arvel. Accompanying Shez, Arvel is a colorless infantry mage with high attack and resistance. They are an animal mythic, and from their tome, Arvel has a 3-space wide guard ploy. For combat, they get accelerated specials, +5 stats, true damage based on 20% resistance, and a follow-up denial. Duality will give a flat +9 attack and res to win those checks, and Arvel gets triangle advantage against the 3 colors, plus a free follow-up. To go with guard, Arvel has attack and res tempo 3. They would love Veyle's new tier for upgrade. Arvel then has attack and res oath 4 as well. Next is Mythic Ashe, who is our free book 6 unit. She's a colorless beast infantry and a light mythic that boosts attack. Her opening retainer C skill grants the 2-space warping for everyone within 2 spaces. It also has a joint drive attack built in. From her weapon, Ashe has accelerated specials, +6 attack, -6 attack debuffs, and an Omnibreaker effect if she's near 3 allies. She then has attack and defense unity and low attack and defense for more stats in combat. Last up for today is Rearmed Alcris. He's an offensive colorless archer who has the Arcane Dark Bow. This weapon has accelerated specials, +6 attack and speed, neutralizes stat debuffs, and has offensive no follow-up with Desperation. You can get this with Flash Sparrow to have bread type cooldown, which can proc Deadeye on hit number 2. Alcris' unique B skill gives no guard to ensure this happens, and he inflicts a lot of defense debuffs to ensure Deadeye deals maximum damage. If he can snipe a target safely, Defensive Smoke 3 will proc, which can let an ally follow up thanks to its Pathfinder. If you want Arcane Dark Bow, it's fairly easy to get all of Alcris' top skills in one go, making him an excellent fodder unit. Colorless, fun little group. If you wanted other arcane weapons, just a reminder we have 4 rearmed heroes on their own banner at this time. That'll be it for this month's Spooky Mythic Hero. Personally, I'm not sure if I'm going to be summoning. I do like Veyle, plus I don't have Shez or Freyr, and Veyle's Scowl support is pretty interesting to me. I did actually end up summoning on the Halloween banner for Tamara and Anna. I'm tempted to get Sonya's Arcane Green Tome, but I may pass that one up. There's also that rearmed Ascended banner going too. We are entering that holiday season, so orb saving is going to get even tougher. Good luck if you are summoning. I will see you guys in the next video.